And hello again there, YouTube. This is Stampede Valkyrie. I'm actually doing this again just to show another variant of the AeroTwinsonic. This is going to kind of be like the other AeroTwinsonic how-to video I did. I just stumbled across this bar, pulled this from a wrecker. For those that are in the know, it's set up very similar to the very famous NYPD AeroTwin or AeroTwinsonic that's out there. However, this is not an NYPD AeroTwinsonic. It does not have the power cable on the passenger side as usually the NYPD AeroTwinsonics do. Plus, it also does not have the designation. If you look real close, kind of hard to see with this camera. The designation on here is 24 RMVF. The NYPD AeroTwinsonics were 24 RMVF-1Zs. I've seen some -2Zs. What is it? So this one is not an NYPD AeroTwinsonic. But the reason why I'm talking about this here is just to talk about, again, a different version of the AeroTwinsonic. Now, the last one that I actually covered was the synchronized gear rotating AeroTwinsonics, the 24s, EAHT, I think is what it was. This one actually is commonly called an AeroTwinsonic. It still is an AeroTwinsonic, regardless of what people tell you. It still is an AeroTwinsonic. However, Federal does call this the AeroTwinsonic. Looking at the designation on this, since I'm talking about that anyway, you'll see the Model 24. It does say AeroTwinsonic there. It says R, M, V, and F. So the R in this nameplate basically means it's these guys. It's the sealed beam rotators. These are the same thing as the Twinsonic / Visibar style rotators. The M on there means it's mid-length, which is basically 48-inch bar. So, and measuring from this endpoint over to this endpoint, you're going to get 48 inches. The V stands for V mirrors. That's these guys right here. And then the F is flashing. So you've got a set here, and while it's covered by the dome, there is a set in here, and I'll have that dome off shortly. So one of the other things I want to talk about real quick here before I actually go any further is a lot of people look at these AeroTwinsonics, and you can kind of tell how big the AeroTwinsonic is by the dome segment length. The other bar that I was looking at in the other video had 4 segments going across. This one, you'll notice, has 1, 2, 3, and a half. That's a 48-inch bar. Now, Federal actually makes multiple sizes, or made multiple sizes of this bar. The shortest one was the 24S, which only has 3 segments. It's 1, 2, and 3. This one's just a little bit longer. This is actually a mid-length. So there you get the 48-inch. On the other style of AeroTwinsonics, it would be an MEAH, or an ME, or MEA, whatever. That's what the M stands for, the mid-length. So why am I bringing this up? Well, I've got this out. It's pretty cold because it's February, and it's supposed to snow later on today, but it's not doing it now, so it's beautiful. I've got some good daylight, and I wanted to show some things on this bar just to point them out so people understand what they're getting into, plus to spell some of the people selling these bars as NYPD bars, because while it is set up the exact same way, it's not an NYPD bar. The big deals, ideally, the big difference between this and an NYPD bar, besides the dome colors not being amber, is also the placement of the power cable coming into the bar. The power cable coming into the bar is here, if you can see that right here, and it actually feeds in, where am I looking here? Right there. This is the driver's side of the bar. The NYPD bars had it on the passenger side. So sliding this off, bear with me a moment, one-handed, awesome. There we go. Sliding this off, we have the other side of the bar. And for a wrecker bar, which is what this was, I am being exposed to, say, sorry about that, being exposed to the elements for, I don't know how many years this thing's been out there. This thing's actually in pretty good shape. Things to talk about, obviously you've got your rotator here. As you can see, I need to put a lamp back in here. These things are pretty easy to swap out, and I'll point that out here too while we're looking at it. Very simple, not complicated whatsoever. You're gonna have this thing come off, and the bulb pops into here. One of the things you want to make a note of on these guys, and a lot of people don't acknowledge this, is that there's a notch here and there's a notch here. Those notches are actually for the Par 36 bulbs themselves. If you look at a Par 36 bulb, you'll see that there is a notch here. That notch actually goes in, obviously, to the notch that's associated with this piece. So you basically would line that notch up there with the notch there, pop it in, close it up, you're done. Installed. The other thing pointing out notches is here. So on the lamp holders, for these guys, the newer plastic ones, I already talked about that notch here. That notch is actually found here. So when you put this bulb in, as this bulb's supposed to go there eventually when I get to it, I would want to situate it so that notch and that notch line up, pop it in, and connect the wiring. If you don't line the notch up, to be honest with you, it's just not going to sit right. It won't seat. And if it doesn't seat right, then you have the possibility over time of it popping loose, something else happening, and all the fun and excitement that happens after that. Other than that, other things on this bar to talk about, since we've got a sealed beam aerodynamic here, is the gearbox. So here is the motor, sitting here. The motor actually connects to a gearbox. It's very, very similar to the Twinsonic, hence the AeroTwinsonic type name. What happens is that this motor drives the gears here, which then has cogs underneath the bar. There's a chain that goes from here to here, and then another chain that goes from here over to here. So what'll happen is this motor spins, spinning these gears, spinning like a bike chain, spins this guy and spins this guy. Pretty basic, just like the Visi bars, just like the Twinsonics. I mean, that's why they call this the AeroTwinsonic again. One of the things I will bring about here, as I'm actually talking about a little bit more about this, is a lot of people say, hey, how do I sync the rotators on this bar? It's actually very simple. You don't have to take the whole bar apart in order to do that. You can actually go to the rotator itself, since this is the one that's in front of me and it's the closest. And if you look on the inside of this thing, you'll see there's one here, and there's also another one. Bear with me a moment here. Should be another one right here on this side. However, what you can do is you can take this, loosen this up. Don't take it apart. Loosen this one up. Come to the other side. And do the same thing on this one. So I would pop this bulb out. And I'll do that now. I'll bulb out of the way. And it's right there. Maybe hard to see because I got sun glare going on, hopefully. Obviously, me and my high-techness. Another nut right there, same thing. Loosen those two up. When you loosen them up, it will actually separate these two pieces. Don't take them out, just loosen them up. This thing will literally slide right up and off. That's it. So then when you want to sync them, put it in the direction you want to be, put it right back down, tighten those two nuts back up again, or those two bolts back up again, and boom, away you go. You're off and running. Other things to talk about. Well, I covered most of the stuff about the 24, our Model 24 aerodynamics earlier. You'll see things that are the same. Your speaker grill, the front section, the back section, the top plate here, and then the 3 screws. I'm missing a screw, so I'm going to have to get a screw there. The speaker bulkhead here. Again, this is things that I've talked about previously. Can't really think of anything else. I just figured I want to talk about this real quick so people see what's going on. Oftentimes on eBay, you'll see people selling these lights claiming that they're NYPD bars. They're not. You have to know what you're looking for. To be honest with you, though, I don't really pay a lot for these guys to begin with, whether it's an NYPD bar or not an NYPD bar, just because I know enough people that I know what I'm looking for. However, don't be surprised if you're on eBay and somebody says, hey, there's an NYPD bar here, as long as this number, and this is your key thing, that needs to read RMVF-1Z. I've seen a couple that are -2Zs, but -1Z. That is the NYPD number. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I can add before I wrap this up, as this is just going to be informal and try to be short. The bulbs in these flasher segments on this bar particularly, I believe are GE 4414s. I can actually look on the back of one of them if I can get a video. Nah, I'm not going to be able to get on that. 4414s, these are flood bulbs. Flood bulbs, obviously, that's what a flood bulb looks like. And then the other side of the bar, these guys here, these are actually 4416s. They are not flood bulbs. Those are spots. So what I plan on doing, even though I just made a video about it, is I have a new old stock set of NYPD domes. I am going to turn this into an NYPD clone. Just because I can. Why not, right? Eventually I get tired of it and I'll swap the bulbs to something else. However, considering what I paid for this bar, I can kind of do really whatever I want with it. Anyway, hopefully this was informative. Anybody has any questions, post up there. That's about it. Just wanted to talk about a different type of aerodynamic. Talk to you later, guys.